I've talked to a lot of amazing people on this podcast, but if you're like me, you want to go deeper. So, where can you go to learn from the most remarkable people? That's Masterclass. This year, learn from the best to become your best with Masterclass. Some people just talk about improving. Masterclass helps you actually do it. With Masterclass, every new membership comes with a 30-day money back guarantee, so there's no risk. And right now, our listeners will get an additional 15% off an annual membership at masterclass.com/ratchet. Get 15% off right now at masterclass.com/ratchet. Masterclass.com/ratchet. What was your favorite childhood memory caught on film or videotape? Do you have an easy way to watch it and share with friends and family or to post it? Probably not. Lucky for you, we found a solution, Legacy Box. And now is the time to take advantage of their best sale of the year during their holiday sales event. Legacy Box is the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season to family or even yourself. It's simple, safe, and has been trusted by millions, including me. And for a limited time, you can preserve your tapes, film, reels, and photos as low as $27, saving you hundreds. Hurry. Legacy Box's best sale of the year won't last long. Visit legacybox.com/ratchet for an unreal 65% off during the Legacy Box holiday sales event. With limited quantities ready to ship, this deal will go fast. Shop Legacy Box's lowest prices of the year now at legacybox.com/ratchet. Buy your Legacy Box today. Send it when you're ready. Legacybox.com/ratchet.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable from PG County. I told y'all I was coming home. I realized this means absolutely nothing because I told a lot of people I was coming home. I told my friend circle. I was like, yeah, my flight is on Tuesday. I'm headed back home. And everybody was like, yeah, okay. And then some point on Tuesday, people were like, so when are you actually leaving? And I was like, no, I'm going to leave today. I mean, I wasn't really packed until like 3 p.m. and my flight was at 8. I had to leave for the airport at like 6, which is a little late, but that's a whole separate story. The point is, I told people that I was leaving, and because I always say like, yeah, I'm going to leave. Like I introduced the goodbye and then I change my flight like 3 times before I actually go somewhere. I do this when I have to leave America, but also to return to America. Like it's my MO. And rightfully so. I've done this to myself. No one believes me. Because I thought it was funny that like no one in my friend circle believed me. And so like I wrote on threads and I was like, ha ha ha. I told my friends I was coming home and no one in the circle believes me. But I thought, maybe on threads I would find like some empathy, some support. And people were like, you need more people because we don't believe you either. We'll see you when you actually decide to return, which is clearly not now because stop it, Demetrius. Stop it. And I was like, really? Really? Is this where we are? It's I've created it. I've done it to myself. Apparently I'm reliable for most things. Very reliable. Not when it comes to dates that I'm traveling, apparently. But no, I'm home. I came home for the holidays. I came home for a bunch of reasons, actually. I'll be around for a while, which actually no one believes me about either. Because everyone's like, oh, okay, like, well, how long are you here? How long do we have you for? You're here for the holidays, and then, you're going back to like where? And I was like, no, like I'm here for a minute, like for a bop. Like I'm gonna be here until like maybe September is the plan. And everyone's like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, really. Like I have no adventures planned. Like I have nothing booked. I have no flights, not even domestic. Like I have nothing booked. Like I'm gonna be in America. And everyone's like, yeah, no, you're not. No one believes me. Closest friends, no one believes me. Everyone's like, well, let's get together this weekend. Like, so because Because we know you're here, like at least for the week. Like I believe you're not going to run off for the week, but no, it's my fault. I'm planning to be here till September. By here, I mean like in the United States, mostly. Like I may go off to gallivant, but like for a couple weeks, like a proper vacation, as opposed to like moving abroad for months at a time. This is pointless because y'all don't believe me. No way. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. My parents are very happy to have me home. My dad brought flowers and champagne. He brought the good shit. Got some Veuve Clicquot. And I was like, really? And he was like, well, you always in South Africa talking about you having bubbles. And so we got bubbles because, that's what you like. And I was like, oh, Dad. Yeah. My mom put all the pillows on earth on the bed. Like it was a real presentation when I walked into the room. And then she also bought me fried oysters because I'm obsessed with fried oysters. I'm assuming they have them in South Africa. I just never found them. It's fine. It's whatever. And she asked them, I think, to hold the salt because, like, when I first come home, everything tastes super, super salty to me. So it's weird. But yeah, I'm home. Indefinitely. It's pointless. No one believes me. I watched movies on the plane. It was a 15-hour flight, which actually wasn't that bad. Going over was sheer terror. I mean, and not even because of turbulence. It's just a long ass flight. Coming back wasn't so bad though. I watched the Amy Winehouse movie, not the documentary, the actual scripted one. I was so excited for that movie to come out, and then it came out, and the reviews were so lackluster, and everyone was complaining about how bad it was. So I kind of backburned it. It came out a while ago, but I finally watched it, and it was completely unremarkable. Did they get clearance from Amy Winehouse's family? Specifically asking because of the music. The voice wasn't Amy Winehouse. Like, I loved Amy Winehouse's voice. Like, I know Amy Winehouse's voice. That wasn't Amy Winehouse's voice. And the reason I wondered if they had clearance from the family is because the story is so sanitized. It blames everything on the boyfriend, and it doesn't really get into the backstory of like what it was going on in Amy's life that had her drinking and drugging the way that she did. There has to be some trauma or something there that had her in the cycle of abuse, of alcohol, of drugs that she was in. You don't just up and decide to start smoking crack. I mean, not at this point. Like in the 80s when people didn't know what's what. But like, yeah, but like by the time she was doing it, like well into the 2000s, huh? It never really got into what the issue was. I mean, her parents were divorced, but she seemed to have a strong support system in her aunt and to her father, more or less. I mean, he should have intervened about her clear and obvious addictions. But I was like, nah, something happened to that girl. But it never goes into the film. It just, everything basically is she was doing all right. And then she meets this guy, and the guy is toying with her. Like he's with somebody else, but then he's with her. He's ping ponging back and forth. Then he leaves Amy twice to go be with this other woman. But also, like, what happened to her that made her put up with that shit? Because there's also a type of woman that'd be like, well, get the fuck out, fuck you. But like that whole back and forth, like the clinginess with him, like what? I don't know. The movie never goes into it. So I'm like, oh, so maybe this was the version of her life that the family approved. And then it also doesn't go into her. Like, remember she used to be on stage and she would be completely out of it? Even the Whitney movie. Actually, that was more the Bobby Brown movie. No, the actual Whitney movie got into her drug use. It didn't get into like the worst of it. That was the one that was approved by Clive Davis and by Whitney's family. But it did actually show like, that she was abusing drugs and how bad it got. Amy, it shows her using drugs, but it doesn't really show like the worst of it. Her being outside barefoot, hounded by the paparazzi. They showed that part of it too. But like that's who gets the blame, the dad and the paparazzi. But it's like, there's more to it that clearly wasn't in this film. And just, I don't know. The acting was what it was. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just all right. But like the music wasn't right. And I was like, this is driving me up a wall. And then also, you know how they have like biopics of musicians? Say like the Elvis one, which was, however you feel about Elvis. The movie was really good. But there's always like that one scene where the actor is performing some big musical event in the musician's career. Like the last scene of the Elvis film is like this iconic night where Elvis is on the decline, but he has like this bright light moment of clarity and sings this beautiful song. And the actor completely embodies Elvis in that moment. It's like this transcendent moment, both for Elvis and then also the actor playing Elvis. Like also think like Freddie Mercury, I think it's Live Aid. They recreate that whole performance in his film. Is it Bohemian Rhapsody? Is that the name of the film? I don't know. That's a good ass film too. Does Amy Winehouse have like that really big iconic moment? I can't remember. What I remember of her, unfortunately, is the walking around in those falling apart ballerina slippers with blood on them. And then she got really, really skinny. But most of what I remember about her is the tragedy, not like the great performances. They missed a lot of stuff. Like her collabs with Jay-Z or Nas. It was all right. It pissed me off because the music wasn't right. And she's one of my favorite artists. Like, I love me some Amy Winehouse. That white girl could sing. What else did I watch? I watched Lupita in A Quiet Place. I had no real desire to see that film. One of my friends that like always talks about TV and film, Michael Gibson. I mention him on here all the time. I need to have him back on. Most of the stuff I watch is actually because he recommended it. He does reviews on his Facebook page. He watches stuff that I'd never really think to watch and be like, oh, it's really good. But he wrote about The Quiet Place being a really good film. And I was like, really? I had no intentions of seeing it, even with like Peter starring in it. And I was like, I'm good. I'm not like a big horror person. And he was like, it's actually a really good, thoughtful, smart, full story arc. Like, it's not just like, oh, look at these crazy CGI and these people who are terrified. Like, there's a really good story arc to it. And I was like, really? It wasn't ever going to pay to see it. But I was like, sitting on the plane for 15 hours. And I was like, well, okay, let's give it a watch. But it's really good. I mean, it's the beginning of the quiet. So like everything is fine. And then like Earth is attacked by these aliens that they respond to noise. And then people have to figure out, how to survive. It's dystopian nightmare. I enjoyed it. And Lupita's really good. She does End of Earth well. And this is important. She acts like Black people. You know how like the stereotype is that white people in horror movies just do a series of dumb shit that Black people would never do? She doesn't do the dumb shit. She does the sensible shit that like the way Black people think about like, what the fuck is going on? She acts like that. So that's part of the reason that the movie works. I also watched Clueless. I realized while I was watching it, because I remember where I was the first time I watched it. I think I went to the movies 3 times to see Clueless because I was like, oh my God, this is my life on film. Read everything and nothing into that statement. But I was watching Clueless just because it's like, one of the greatest films ever made. And I remember being in the theater in like 1994 or 5. And I was like, this is really a great movie. Because like 30 years later, I'm sitting on a plane watching this film being like, this is great. I'm laughing like I've never seen the film before. Meanwhile, I can still recite like every line. I've probably watched Clueless as many times as I've watched Lady Sings the Blues, which is literally my favorite movie of all time. And then I like slept for 8 hours. And then I ended up editing the podcast because I recorded it before I left. I thought I'd have time at the airport to do the edit and did not. So I ended up doing that on the plane and then finishing it right when I got home. Like fresh off a 15-hour flight from Africa. Like I came home and finished the edits for the podcast. This is life. I'm going to have a calmer life because I'm not going to be traveling because I'm going to be here, which no one believes. It's fine. It's fine. I've talked to a lot of amazing people on this podcast, but if you're like me, you want to go deeper. So where can you go to learn from the most remarkable people? That's Masterclass. This year, learn from the best to become your best with Masterclass. Some people just talk about improving. Masterclass helps you actually do it. Masterclass offers over 180 world-class instructors. So whether you want to master negotiation with Chris Voss, think like a boss with Martha Stewart, or learn the power of storytelling with LeVar Burton, Masterclass has you covered. With Masterclass, you get unlimited access to intimate one-on-one classes with the world's best. There are over 200 classes to pick from, with new classes added every month, like that Think Like a Boss class with Martha Stewart that I mentioned. That helped me to think outside the box. Instead of thinking about limitations, think about possibilities. With Masterclass, every new membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. And right now, our listeners will get an additional 15% off an annual membership at masterclass.com/ratchet. Get 15% off right now at masterclass.com/ratchet. Masterclass.com/ratchet. What do we have in the news this week? There's so much. Oh, let's start with a couple updates. I asked last week about Issa's restaurant in LA because I'm not going to have a chance to get there until at least February, maybe closer to March. So I asked and I was like, hey, if y'all have been, could y'all please let me know because I clearly can't make it right now. One of you wrote in just before I started recording. She said, good morning. She said, I went to Somerville last night. She says, Black LA needed something like this on the other side of the 10. Very elegant and classy. The service was amazing. Food was delicious. Ambiance sexy. Woohoo! That sounds good. I can't wait to go. There was something else I wanted to give an update on. Duran Bernard. Is that his name? That's how you pronounce it? Apologies to that man if it's not, because you know I'll be butchering names. It's not intentional. I think I was going through the nominees of Grammys a couple episodes ago, and I didn't know who he was. And tons of people wrote in and was like, no, you're depriving yourself. You need to know who this man is. So several of you recommend that I watch his Tiny Desk to start with that performance as an introduction, and then I can go down the rabbit hole from there. And did, because people were like raving. Enough people wrote in that I was like, okay, I must be missing something. So yes, I am no longer deprived. I am now informed. I like him very much. What's the song? Something like I'm that bitch and that nigga. You know the type of shit I like to hear. You know what I like. Duran Bernard. I'm looking it up right now. Is that the name of the song? Mango Butter. I'm a bad bitch and I'm that nigga. He started singing. I had to stop and go back. I said, what did he say? I was like, this is my kind of carrying on. I'm that nigga because I'm that bitch. Because I'm that bitch is because I'm that nigga. I was like, oh yeah, ratchet and respectable. Speaking of music, this is in good Black news. Beyoncé was named by Billboard as the greatest pop star of the 21st century. This is such a weird article. I just read you the title. The deck, like the subhead, is while Taylor Swift is the century's biggest pop star by numbers, Beyonce tops our staff chosen editorial list based on her full 25 years of influence, impact, evolution. We've gotten to the point that we can't even discuss Beyonce without discussing Taylor Swift. It doesn't have to be this way. We can say great things about Beyonce and just, just leave it at that. We don't have to talk about Taylor Swift. She doesn't have to be centered in celebrations about Beyonce. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I'm recording at the house and the doorbell rang. I ordered this artwork from Micheline Thomas maybe like 3 months ago. I did it before I left to go to South Africa and it just arrived. They said it was going to take a while to arrive and they sent me updates over time. So I knew like what process my painting was in. But yeah, Micheline Thomas, like I love, love, love her work. And I'd gone to an exhibit when I was in LA last year or earlier this year. When I was out there for, I think, the BET Awards. She had a really great exhibition downtown, but I've seen her work as often as possible. If I'm in a city where she's got an exhibition, I always, always, always make a point to see it. But now I have my very own Micheline Thomas. I'm very excited about this. I ain't even opened the package, just FYI. Like I accepted it, I signed for it, and then I came back to you. Just that's how much I love you, just so you know. That's not the point. The point is, Billboard points out that Beyoncé first topped the Billboard Hot 100 March 18th, 2000. That's when she was still with Destiny's Child. Billboard points out that on March 2nd, 2024, that she also topped the Hot 100 for the 12th time in the 21st century. And this time she did it solo with Texas Hold'em. Billboard notes, quote, it is almost too perfectly illustrative of the kind of career that Beyoncé has had this past quarter century. that she should top the Hot 100 in the same month of both its first and last year, and with such two wildly disparate songs. It says there aren't a lot of obvious threads tying them together. They're from different genres and different generations, with virtually no overlapping collaborators, themes, or even promotional techniques. The only thing they have in common, besides, of course, their fantastic commercial success and top level artistry, is the singer behind them, a performer and creator whose commitment to innovation, evolution, and all around excellence has made her the bar against which all other pop stars this century have long been measured. Good for Beyonce. I'd read you this whole article, but it just goes on and on and on and on and on, praising Beyonce, her stage presence, her beauty, her fashion, captivating staging, otherworldly physicality, simultaneously earthy and skyscraping vocals, all speaks for itself. I agree with everything but the fashion. Few artists of this period, I'm reading again from Billboard, can match her in any of the most critical basic categories of pop stardom: commercial success, performance abilities, critical acclaim and accolades, industry influence, iconic cultural moments, and absolutely no one can equal her in all of them. Now they're bringing up the little white girl again. Even Taylor Swift, the lone artist who really challenged Beyonce for the top spot in these rankings, and who does have a clear statistical lead on Bey in many key categories, more on that later, simply hasn't been around for long enough to be able to match the expansiveness of Beyonce's quarter-century dominance. Don't want to scroll down to see what they got to say about the little white girl? This has got to be at least 5,000 words. I'm literally still scrolling. And we're just at 2006. Literally scrolling. I'm not reading, but I'm just like picking up on little words that pop out. I wasn't the biggest Beyonce fan for a really, really long time. I like certain songs here and there. But when she was in her like blatant pandering phase, or even like her hyper feminist phase, like I just wasn't a fan. Like Cater to You, tap me on my shoulder and I'll roll over, just took me over the edge. I was like, I cannot. No, I don't really care about them comparing Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Yeah. What was your favorite childhood memory caught on film or videotape? Do you have an easy way to watch it and share with friends and family, or to post it? Probably not. Lucky for you, we found a solution: Legacy Box. And now is the time to take advantage of their best sale of the year during their holiday sales event. Legacy Box is the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season to family or even yourself. It's simple, safe, and has been trusted by millions, including me. And for a limited time, you can preserve your tapes, film, reels, and photos as low as $27, saving you hundreds. I got the idea to do Legacy Box when I was looking for old pictures of my parents. I wanted to do one of those videos where you showcase your parent now and then talk about how they used to break hearts back in the day. I'm digging through boxes in the basement and I was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. Legacy Box is a simple and safe way to digitize your treasured videotapes, film reels, and photos. And they've helped over 1 million families do just that. Not to mention, everything is done by hand right here in the US. Convert your media to digital copies that will always be protected from floods, mold, or even the decay of time. The process is so easy. Send in your Legacy Box filled with old VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, and pictures. Their team professionally digitizes everything by hand in the USA, and you'll get it back on the cloud or thumb drive along with your originals. Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their favorite memories. Hurry! Legacy Box's best sale of the year won't last long. Visit legacybox.com/ratchet for an unreal 65% off during the Legacy Box holiday sales event. With limited quantities ready to ship, this deal will go fast. Shop Legacy Box's lowest prices of the year now at legacybox.com/ratchet. Buy your Legacy Box today. Send it when you're ready. Legacybox.com/ratchet. Let's see. Serena Williams is brown again. I saw she dropped a video. She was denying that she's been bleaching her skin. Where am I reading this at? Let's read it at the root. That used to be my writing home. It says, the 23-time Grand Slam champion is clapping back at people on the internet who are making crazy accusations about her. Are they crazy? Says Williams took to Instagram Live to address claims that she's been bleaching her skin. She said, quote, "No, for you haters out there, I do not bleach my skin." Man, this is what she's saying on why she is noticeably and significantly lighter than she was many years ago. She says there's this thing called sunlight, and in that sunlight, you get different colors. Man, look, I live in Ghana like half the year, and there's lots of sun there. And then I'm here and I'm not in the sun as much. Like I have my car, I'm not walking around as much. I'm also not hanging out on my rooftop pool in direct sun or hanging out at beach clubs all the time. Yes, you can become darker with more sun, and you can become lighter with less sun. Black people, we know this happens, right? Like we tan, even though a lot of people don't think we do. We absolutely do. Like you can be several shades darker or lighter depending on your exposure to sun. You don't go from Serena's deep brown, like a chocolate brown, to like light skin just because you don't be in the sun. Like you could go from like, a chocolate brown to like a less chocolate brown. Tell me you went from chocolate brown to just, a medium brown. I'd be like, all right, sure. The woman has gone. Like I'm looking at a side by side picture. The blonde hair doesn't really help. You not bleaching. Okay. Well, then what are you doing? Because you're doing something. This ain't just, I didn't go outside in the sun for a year and now I've become a light skinned black woman. No, no. You doing something, sis. And you don't want to tell us like it's really not our business. But you're not gonna act like we didn't see you on like magazine covers and Beyonce videos on stage at ESPN, out on the tennis court. Like we don't like there are not thousands of pictures of you on the internet in your original chocolate brown, and then all of a sudden you light skin. And then also like she posts on her page a lot. She has a makeup line right now, which I'm not even getting into that. But she uses a lot of filters. Like there was one that like gave her like straight like triangle face. And I'm like, I try to be mindful in how I speak about Serena Williams because of Little Kim and because of Tiny. I don't know if I've said this before because sometimes I do segments on her and then I like delete them because I don't want to. You see, I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I don't want to contribute to the criticism that she receives. And really, the only reason I'm addressing it now is because she's actually addressed it. Serena Williams, at the height of her fame as a tennis player, was very muscular and also very, very shapely. I mean, she got like D's, she had a huge booty, the legs was popping. Like, remember the cat suit? It was all titties and ass, like waist wear. Like, just, she always had an amazing body and a beautiful face as well. It's a good looking woman. My favorite picture of her, she's on the cover of ESPN. It's the nude issue. You can't see anything. Like it's not provocative. It's just all skin, just this beautiful brown glistening skin. It's a very tasteful nude, if you will. At the time, it was considered a little scandalous. I remember my father commented on it. He was like, she shouldn't have to do that. Like, she's so talented. Like, he really didn't like the photo. And he was like, her father worked so hard, so she wouldn't have to, take pictures like this. But looking at it now, it's completely tame. It is so not provocative. I didn't even think so at the time. I just thought it was a really beautiful image. But she's very chocolate and she's very beautiful and she has her original features, which are much different than the features that she's chosen now. Okay. Even then, when I thought she's like, wow, like she's so beautiful, she would get criticized constantly for her muscles. And people would make jokes saying that she's masculine, saying that she's secretly a man. She also has talked about like how racist some of the environments that she was in when she was playing. Even as a teenager, she was like, people would say all sorts of crazy shit to her. Even in the sport, like she always got unfavorable calls, which many people, including her, were like, that's racist. Like they're going hard on her because she's a black woman. Some of her competitors would say crazy shit about her. She's heard a lot of deriding comments about her appearance personally, her blackness overall. She's been othered and unwelcomed in spaces. And I imagine that takes a huge toll. And then also, just being in pop culture and people, half the people being like, oh my God, she's the body of a goddess, being sexualized and objectified in that way. And then also, people saying that she's a man. It's like, wait, so half the people think I look like a man and the other people think I'm like some sort of goddess? Like, the fuck? That has to take a toll. So I'm very mindful in speaking about her appearance, because we tend to do this thing culturally, and that's why I brought up Little Kim and Tiny, is where we keep telling people that you're not attractive enough, you're not good enough, essentially. And then when people go and alter themselves because they want to be viewed as pretty or attractive or acceptable or good enough, then we criticize them for wanting to make changes and be like, oh, she must have low self-esteem. Oh, I thought she was more confident than that. And then all the people that told you how ugly you were all of a sudden want to be like, you were so beautiful. Why would you do that to your face? And you're like, huh? You told me I was shit. And then now I went to do something to make myself pretty. And now you're telling me you like me the way I was? Like, what? It's ultimate gaslighting. So with Serena, with her being very public about, the things that she's been through, and then now making these alterations, clearly alterations, like not bleaching, I believe you, I do, but like something. I find it hard to criticize because, like, well, what else did you want the girl to do? You told her she was ugly, now she went and did things to make herself feel beautiful. She's got all this unfortunately colored blonde hair that I'm like, if you want to do blonde, there's a way to do blonde as a Black woman. Like, your blonde it's not complimentary. That's how she wants to look. And then, she's done fillers or injections or, I don't know, plastic surgery. She's done stuff to her face. She's done stuff to her brow. I do shit to my brows too. I think she tried to get like how like men go to Istanbul and get like those hair replacements. I think she tried to do something similar to her brows. Brow shit, I understand. But I'm like, the other stuff, like, I hope she feels beautiful. I mean, clearly she's heard people talking about her bleaching, or she's seen, side-by-side photos of like, her 10 years ago and her now, and she realizes, I don't know, because she addressed it. I'm only speaking on it because she addressed it. Otherwise, I would have just kept my commentary mostly to myself. But like, I hope she's happy. Some people I just don't want to go in on. It's not my face. It's her face. She likes it. I hope she likes it. She better like it. If she don't like it, she got enough money to go and fix it to whatever she wants it to be. I did see a picture of Serena recently. She was sitting on a stage, and it was after the video where she said that she wasn't bleaching, and she was suddenly like super brown. Let me go to her page. Let's see what event this was. You should go to her page and see. I'll see if I remember. Hopefully I remember to post it when I post the promo for this. She said yesterday evening, she did an event for Vanity Fair and Simone Biles. And they're both sitting on stage looking like very brown. They're the same color again. And Serena has her blonde. It's a beautiful blonde, a lovely blonde. This is a nice shade. Maybe she went and got a new makeup artist. But her whole face is brown, like the face and the legs match. She has on gloves. We can't see her hands. I don't know. But whoever did the makeup that day, excellent. Like, I'm swiping through the photos. Excellent. She looks like Kelly Rowland level of brown beauty. I'm not saying that because Kelly Rowland's also brown. I'm saying that because like Kelly Rowland's like one of the most beautiful people walking earth. But she looks really, really beautiful. Maybe she called Kelly's makeup artist. I don't know. Serena looks good. We talk about folks when they not looking, so good. We don't always talk about folks when they looking real, real good. She looks real, real good. Like, whatever's happening here, you can still see she's, changed her face, but it looks nice. It looks very, very nice. She looks good. And brown. Brown is good.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. Like, I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings. But I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Yeah, I guess this is good Black news. Lizzo's lawsuit was dropped. But this is from BBC. It says the harassment case against Lizzo has dropped. She's won a key ruling in her ongoing legal battle with the stylist who claims that she was subjected to racial and sexual harassment and a hostile work environment by members of the singer's management team while on tour in 2023. Actually, this is a better story. This just came out in USA Today 8 minutes ago. It says Lizzo is dropped as a defendant in the harassment lawsuit. So the lawsuit is still ongoing, but Lizzo is no longer being sued. So the federal judge in Los Angeles ruled Monday, and again, this is from USA Today, that both Lizzo and her tour manager could not be held personally responsible for the 7 causes of action levied against them. It says a stylist that worked for Lizzo alleged a toxic work environment in which she was subjected to racist and fatphobic comments as well as sexual harassment. Big Girl Big Touring Company, which managed Lizzo's tour, they are still on the hook. They will remain a defendant as the case plays out. The judge also noted that some of the tour stops took place in Europe, where U.S. employment laws are not in effect. So this is one lawsuit. USA Today notes that there's another lawsuit. So there was the lawsuit with the dancers, and then there was also a lawsuit with the stylists. The 3 backup dancers have a separate lawsuit. That lawsuit seems to still be ongoing. Not so good Black news. Where am I reading this? Let's read it on the source. Support Black publications. Lord knows they need it. It says Diddy's son, Christian Combs, served sexual assault lawsuit at father's Miami mansion. This woman accuses him of assault, battery, sexual assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Wait, is this the same lawsuit or a new lawsuit? This sounds like something we already read before. Because a woman named Grace, it stems from an alleged incident in July 2022 aboard a yacht. According to the lawsuit, Diddy chartered the vessel for what was supposed to be a family outing, but it turned into a hedonistic environment with guests she believed to be sex workers. It said it resulted in an unexpected increase in workload for her and her colleagues, as well as unwanted exposure to unlawful drug use, sex work, and general chaos. She says the incident derailed her career and personal life. She says Christian took an immediate and inappropriate interest in her while she worked. He pressured her to drink with him in a recording studio and became aggressive. He violently grabbed her arm and began hurting her. He pulled her into the seat beside him and prevented her from getting up. She says he cornered her. He became physically and extremely aggressive. He groped her despite her resistance. He disrobed and attempted to force her into performing a sexual act. I'm going to assume that's oral. The assault only ended when another employee entered the room. She said she reported the incident the following morning to her captain, but was dismissed, claiming that she was likely voluntarily partying with the guests. She said she was made to continue serving Christian on the yacht and was not given the option to avoid him. And she said the fallout from this incident is the end of her long-term relationship and the deterioration of her mental health. She said she required medication and intensive therapy, and she fell into a deep depression to the point that she was unable to carry out her maid of honor duties at the wedding of her only sister in July 2023. Her legal team says she continues to suffer emotionally and professionally from Christian's actions. Her lawyer, I swear we've read this before. It's Tyrone Blackburn. He's the lawyer for, remember the guy, the music producer, Rodney Jones? His lawsuit had the pictures, and he said he had a ton of video of hanging out with Diddy. He accused him of all sorts of stuff, was naming all kinds of people in the lawsuit. I swear this story came up before, though. I'm reading this on BBC. This is from April. It's the same woman. It says she filed a lawsuit, civil court in Los Angeles. Yahoo says he was served legal paperwork at his father's Miami mansion. So she filed back in April, and it seems like they just now getting around to letting him know, like, hey, you're going to have to address this. All right. That's what that is. Just to keep myself from getting sued, I just need to point out that these are all allegations. And I'd also like to note, again, just to make sure I don't get sued, Christian, to my knowledge, has not publicly responded this time. But when this all came up the first time back in April, Aaron Dyer, he's the attorney for both Christian and his father, he told the press, this is just another lewd and meritless claim from Tyrone Blackburn. That's the lawyer. Just like what he filed in the Rodney Jones lawsuit, which he still has not served. So now he's been served. So shit just got real. Okay. You can still make financial progress during the holidays with Chime Secured Credit Builder Visa Credit Card. Start building credit with your holiday purchases and regular on-time payments, all with no annual fees, interest, or credit check at chime.com/ratchet. I love my Chime Credit Builder Visa Credit Card. Like I said, no annual fees, interest, or credit check to apply. Plus, you can use it everywhere Visa credit cards are accepted, and you can build credit using your own money. Also, with Chime, you can access more than 50,000 fee-free ATMs. That's more than the top 3 national banks combined. Easily find one near you with the Chime app. Turn your holiday purchases into steps toward your financial goals with Chime Secure Credit Card. Get started at chime.com/ratchet. That's chime.com/ratchet. Chime feels like progress. The Chime Credit Builder Visa Credit Card is issued by the Bancorp Bank North America or Stride Bank North America. Chime checking account and qualifying direct deposit required to apply. Late payments may negatively impact your credit score. Results may vary. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal and OTC advance fees may apply. Bank ranking and number of ATMs according to the U.S. News and World Report 2023. Let's see. What else do we have on this list? Lizzo. Oh, Kendrick on tour. I mean, it's good black news for me. It's not so good black news for Drake, or half of Drake. I read that Kendrick is doing he's doing a national tour, but he has 2 international dates. It started with 1, but he decided to up it to 2. He's only doing 2 international dates. Both of them are in Toronto, and the first one was on Father's Day. You know, one of his biggest criticisms of Drake, I mean, there's so many, in addition to A minor, is that he's a trash father. Because one of Kendrick's disses to Drake was like something like Meet the Grams? In one of the verses, he was apologizing to, what's the boy's name? Let me keep this man's child's name out of my mouth. The little boy, Drake's son. But he was apologizing to Drake's son. Like, you know, basically, I'm sorry you were born to a trash ass man who doesn't teach you how to pray. But if you could just stay the course and make it to the adulthood, call me and I'll show you how to actually be a man. Y'all remember that verse? He's so petty. He's performing June 12th and June 13th in Toronto. I guess we need to talk about like the United CEO that was slain, murdered on the street in New York by a lone assassin. That's what we're calling him now. He's not just a gunman, he's an assassin who has disappeared. Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare. They telling me more stuff about him. They telling me about the assassin. We have a picture of the assassin. We know what he was wearing. He was like in his good drip. It's like a $300 backpack, $500 coat. He went to Starbucks before he, went to kill, and then hopped on a rental bike and rode off into Central Park. It has not been seen since. Actually, that's not true. I think when the bike exited the park, they picked up on it. But they don't know where this man is. They can't find him. To my knowledge, they don't know much about him at this time. They just have a face, but I don't think they identified him. Let me look real quick. I think all we know about the assassin at this point is he had beautiful teeth. I'm reading this on Rutgers. New York City police hunt for executive's assassin as 48-hour window closes. They're scouring surveillance video, chasing down leads, sought the public's help in finding the gunman. The public is on the side of the assassin. The public is not willing to help. Like, overwhelmingly, people are like, oh, well. There was a picture of the assassin that was circulating. He was smiling. They said he was flirting at I want to say, like, hotel reception or something. People were talking about how cute the assassin is. This is from reporting from 2 hours ago. They haven't recovered the gun, the bicycle, or the backpack. And police are concerned. They say there's a 48-hour window that's the best opportunity to catch the gunman. And that time frame has now passed. They said the longer it takes, they could be losing vital pieces of evidence. Still reading on records, it says the suspect arrived in New York 10 days before the shooting. He came in on a Greyhound bus, which many people have pointed out, like it's one of the few forms of transportation where you don't need an ID. It said the bus originated in Atlanta. He checked into a Manhattan youth hostel using a fake ID from New Jersey. United Healthcare, I read, made $90 billion with a B, in profits last year. They have offered a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction. They don't give a fuck either, clearly. Also, this man was gunned down on the street, I want to say at 7 a.m. as he was on his way to a meeting. Was it a shareholders meeting? An investors meeting? He was gunned down outside the building. We was trying to get into that meeting at like 7 a.m. The meeting was scheduled to start at 8 and did. The body was still warm. Had the blood on the sidewalk been washed up yet? And they went ahead with the meeting. I was like, what in the Clive Davis is going on here? Remember Whitney? She died at the Beverly Hilton? Like she was dead upstairs. Like the body was still in the building. And Clive Davis went on and did his party as planned. Whitney was signed to him, I want to say, like her whole career. No? He signed her when she was a teenager? He'd known that woman 30, 40 years at that point. From when she was a kid. Her body was warm upstairs. He was downstairs partying. I will never forgive him for that. I read that following the attack, United Healthcare and several other health insurers took down pictures of executives from their corporate websites in the apparent tightening of security measures. United Healthcare shooter, he had written something on the bullet casings they found. That's why people were like, this is clearly like a hit, like a professional hit. Bullets fired at the United Healthcare CEO. I'm reading this on CBS News. The words delay, deny, and depose were written on shell casings. And this is also the name of a book. It says a source briefed on the investigation said each word was meticulously written, not etched, onto the casings in a Sharpie. It's the title of a book. Delay, Deny, Defend is the name of the book. And says why insurance companies don't pay claims and what you can do about it. In reaction to this high-profile murder, why so many people are rooting for the assassin, people have been sharing, Americans in particular, have been sharing their stories dealing with insurance companies, straight up horror stories. I was reading something on Threads earlier today. This woman, she was insured. Her kid was sick. She was pre-approved for surgery. She had the letter and everything. And she says the morning of the surgery, someone from hospital billing asked her if she would want to, put something towards her out-of-pocket expenses for the surgery. She's pulled out her credit card and she says, well, how much is it? And they said $68,000. She was like, well, I have insurance. The insurance company is picking it up. And they were like, well, the insurance company is covering XYZ, but they're not covering ABC. So that's on you, to the tune of $68,000. Other people were going on talking about everything from being seriously injured, but like wanting to take an Uber to the hospital as opposed to an ambulance because their insurance didn't cover ambulance rides, or people getting recommended and approved for surgery by their doctors, and the insurance company will be like, no, we don't think it's necessary. I'm like, well, you're not the doctor. Like, the doctor says it's necessary, and the insurance company is like, nah. You have to go back and forth and make appeals. I'm like, why am I paying for insurance? And I got to fight with them to get them to cover the shit that I need. Or some people were like, they denied me, and then I went on Twitter and, talked about it. The thread blew up, and then all of a sudden they approved it. Then I got to publicly shame them and tell people all my business just in order to get, basic medical care. And then obviously the people from Europe are like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, why are y'all living like this? I've had 2 surgeries this year. The first one in May in South Africa. I told y'all this on here before, yeah? I found a lump under my boob. There was literally like a women's clinic next door to my gym in South Africa. So I popped in one day. It took me a couple days to get up the nerve. So I popped in one day and was like, probably a little anxious, and was like, hey, I've found this lump. I don't know what it is, and I need to get it checked out. And she looked in the system and she said, she's like, I'm so sorry, we're a little booked up. It was like Tuesday or Wednesday. And she said, our first opening is on Friday. And I was like, well, yes, because to me, that's unheard of. My experience with the American healthcare system was never, oh, we can get you in on Friday. Even if I've been going to a doctor over and over again, like it takes forever to get in. So I go on Friday and they do a mammogram, and she says, yes, like, you saying you see this lump, and indeed, we also see this lump. So we need to have you back in for a biopsy. So they scheduled that maybe like 6 days later, and they were super apologetic, and they were like, it's so busy right now. And she was like, is something going on? Because she was like, we have all these American patients that have been coming in like in the last like 30 days or so. And I was like, not to my knowledge. But she was like, we've always had a steady stream. But she was like, there's a bunch of y'all now. And I was like, I don't know. I go back in for the biopsy, and I'm clearly like nervous. I'm clearly upset. And the doctor's like, looking at it like it's probably nothing, but like I just can't officially rule it out without the biopsy. So let me give you my WhatsApp. And she's like, as soon as I get the information back, I'll let you know. Okay. So the doctor just like gives me her WhatsApp to like contact her directly. The other thing too, she's like, not like Dr. So-and-so. She was like, hi, I'm Linda. And I was like, okay. So she texts me maybe like 3 or 4 days later. It's not cancer. It's benign. I would recommend that you have it removed, which is what I wanted to do anyway. Cause just like having a lump in your body, anytime I was laying down, I would be like touching it 24/7. Like I was always like conscious that there's like this foreign growth like in my body. And so she recommended a surgeon who could remove it. Set up an appointment with her. I want to say maybe I called her on a Friday. I had an appointment on Tuesday. So I want to say like the mammogram might have been like 50 USD. The biopsy was maybe max 150 out of pocket. Like, and the doctor's appointment was something nominal, like maybe like $30, $25, something like that. So I went to the surgeon. That office visit was like $40. They sent over all my information to her. So she pulled it up on the screen. And so she was like, it's this, this, and this. I can pull it out, and it'll probably take like, less than an hour to do so. And it'll be under general anesthesia and la, 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 la. Is this something you want to move forward with? And I was like, yes. She was like, well, I do theater surgery every Thursday. And she was like, do you want to do it this Thursday? It's Tuesday. And I was like, actually, I'm supposed to go to wine country this weekend with some friends. Can we schedule it for like next Thursday? And so she was like, sure, no problem. And that's it. I had actually got really sick when I was in South Africa last time, and I had to delay the surgery because I was coughing so bad. I couldn't go under primarily because of the cough. So I rescheduled it for a week, and everything was fine. They took it out. The whole process from my mammogram appointment to having an actual surgery was 3.5 weeks. I remember calculating that the whole thing with like the mammogram, the office visits, like everything like came up to like 2,500 in total. So yeah, something like that. So when I went to my follow-up for the surgery for the lump under my boob, my doctor tells me, this is fine. And she was like, however, I am concerned about this. And she touches my tummy. I had waist beads on at the time. They had to check to make sure my waist beads didn't have metal in them. She was like, I felt like a lump in your stomach. I need you to have that checked out sooner than later. She was like, I called around. She was like, I asked one of my friends, it was a OBGYN. I told her what your symptoms were, but I need you to go get it checked out to find out whatever it is. She recommended an OBGYN, actually the person who did my most recent surgery. I called over to her office, and the only reason they couldn't get me in is because it was like 3:00. And she was like, we don't have anything else today. And she's like, tomorrow she's in theater. She's like, can you do it the next day? And my flight was leaving the day she was in theater. Otherwise, it would have been like the same day. So I come back to the States and I got to find an OBGYN. I haven't lived here in 2 years. My last one was in California. I'm in DC. Started asking friends for recommendations. I'm calling these OBGYNs as a new patient. They're telling me their first availability is like 4 months from now. I ended up calling my old OBGYN that I had when I was in New York. She's a friend of the family. She was on the road and then her schedule was super busy because she was out of town. Her next availability was like 3 weeks away. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm sitting around for 3 weeks knowing something is wrong, but not able to be diagnosed. So I go up to New York specifically for this doctor's appointment. She's the one that tells me, she's like, yeah, like you have like giant fibroids. Oh, this explains so much of what I thought was perimenopause because I'm about that age. Come to find out, like when I actually had the surgery, my doctor was like, you're nowhere near perimenopause, not even close at all. All the symptoms you had, everything was fibroids. I was like, are you kidding me right now? She's the one that diagnoses me with fibroids. And she's like, yeah, so you probably need to have these removed because like they're giant. I'm imagining they're affecting your quality of life, but she doesn't do surgeries anymore. So we went through the options, like what the possibilities were. I was trying to find a surgeon here in America. Just to get an appointment was like months off. And I was like, I can't fucking live like this. Also, I just wasn't myself like the whole summer. And so like I told people what was going on. I remember being at a table with like 10 women and I was talking about the fibroids and like the iron deficiencies and all of that. And 8 of the 10 women at the table had some sort of issue with fibroids, which is statistically on par. Like something like 80% of Black women deal with fibroids. 6 of the women at the table had had at least one form of surgery dealing with their fibroids. The other 2 had fibroids. They weren't big or bothersome, but they had them. But everybody had been like suffering, whether it was long cycles, double cycles in the same month, which was what was happening to me. We were telling like our crazy stories about managing your cycle. How many times are you changing your products? Or like what crazy contraptions have you figured out? People walking around and hold like adult diapers during their first 3 days of their cycle and still having to change that like every 2 hours. Crazy shit. The thing that really got me, and one of the reasons I was like, fuck this, I'm going overseas. One of my friends, it was June or July, we were having this conversation, and she had been diagnosed with fibroids. They were really bad. She had a lot of the same symptoms I did. She gets diagnosed with the fibroids. Her doctor was like, you know, if you want any relief, basically you have to have surgery. She has to get the procedure approved by her insurance company. Takes 30 days to get an approval. So the first time they rejected it, she appealed. She finally got it approved. And then to get scheduled for the surgery with her doctor, she wasn't having the procedure until December. And I was like, what? And then everybody else started talking about their fibroid story. The only person who did not have some long suffering between initial diagnosis and getting the fibroids removed was a friend who also lived overseas. She was like, yeah, I was diagnosed in January. And she was like, I had them taken out in March. And she's like, it would have been sooner, but I had to like figure out something with my work schedule. Everybody else had these like long horror stories about long waits just to get diagnosed or telling like, okay, these are my symptoms. And they'd be like, oh, okay, well, you know, just live with it. It's not a thing. Like they're only XYZ size. Like it'll be fine. And then they just become massive out of nowhere. Or the same thing that I was being told, but I wasn't being told by doctors, but just like, oh, it's probably perimenopause. It's nothing to worry about. And she's like, until like, you know, I'm a grown ass woman walking around in an adult diaper that's full of blood. People are still telling me this shit is normal. And I was like, fuck no, I'm going back overseas.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Call back to the doctor that was recommended, the one I was trying to get the appointment with before I left. Her next availability was a month out. So I went back on September, I want to say 28th. I had my appointment with her on September 29th, and we scheduled my surgery for October 17th. That's simple. I paid out of pocket for the whole thing. I want to say in total, everything was $7,000. So the surgery, the anesthesia, and then I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. You pay everything in advance. That's it. You leave the hospital and financially you're done. I had more or less a great recovery. The first, I don't know, 24 hours was trash. But after that, it was pretty fine. They gave me a bunch of drugs. My mom went to the pharmacy and she was super nervous about the prescriptions because there were like 6 of them. She was like, Jesus, this could run anywhere from, like 1,000 to 3,000. Like, you just never know, like the price of drugs. And she came back home just like confused. And she was like, what is 1,060 Rand in American money? And I was like, I don't know, something like, I don't know, $60. I don't know. And so she was like, and when they said it was 1,060, I thought they meant USD. Like, and I thought in my head, oh, that's not bad. You just got all your meds for $60? She was outdone. And I was like, I came back here to have my surgery for a reason. To put it in perspective of like my recovery, I didn't have like the machine go in and all that. Like I got like chopped up. I got out of the hospital on Sunday. There was a fire in my building on Wednesday, and we were on the 6th floor. And I had to run down 6 flights of stairs. And I did so, like, fine. My mom was like screaming, like, slow down, slow down. I'm like, the building's on fire. The building's on fire. Some idiot had set the jacuzzi on fire in the penthouse. How the fuck do you set a jacuzzi on fire? Ain't no water in it. It was a raging fire, raging fire. It's funny now. At the time, it was a gigantic what the fuck. We were sitting in the living room and there was a bunch of commotion outside. It was like 8, 9 o'clock at night. So my mom got up to close the door and like people were yelling. And then someone was like, hello, hello. And my mom like went out on the balcony and the guy was like, hello, your building's on fire. And we were like, the fuck? Like our building? It can't be our building. I go in the bedroom because I had on like my house dress. I go in the bedroom to put on some pants so I can like go outside on the balcony and see like what these people are talking about. And I won't be flashing them so they can see like up my dress. I go into the bedroom. It smells like smoke. And I was like, oh, fuck, our building is on fire. And I was like, Mom, the bedroom smells like smoke. We have to go. Throw on some shoes. Run out into the hallway. We're banging on doors as we're going by, like, the building's on fire. The building's on fire. Then the alarm actually sounds. And then we end up running downstairs, 6 flights of stairs, because the building's on fire. It was fine. But I say all that to say, like, I got out the hospital Sunday. I ran down 6 flights of stairs on Wednesday. I had a really good recovery. And even now, like, I get tired faster than usual. But otherwise, like, I don't even really think about it. In the future, should I ever need anything that's obviously not an emergency, I would carry my ass right back overseas and pay for out of pocket. In my experience, just the 2 surgeries I had, it was faster, more efficient, more compassionate care, and also more technologically advanced. My OBGYN situation in South Africa, like the tools that she was using, the office setup, like everything was like far, far, far more advanced than what I experienced in the US. And also, it was just less of a headache. I didn't have to jump through 50 million hoops to get taken care of. It was just like I called, I make an appointment, I cut a check, I get taken care of and taken care of well. Like all things considered, I had a great hospital experience. I never had to stay over in a hospital before because I never had, major health complications before. So I get why so many people feel absolutely nothing about the CEO being gunned down in the street. In the same day that the United guy is like gunned down, what was the other healthcare company? They reneged because people like were going apeshit. And I guess they don't want their CEO killed in the street either. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield announced that they were going to put a cap on anesthesia for surgical patients. They would provide anesthesia for an amount of time. If your surgery went over that amount and you needed additional anesthesia, you as the client, customer, sick person would be charged out of pocket for whatever that was. There was a massive backlash to that. So they've decided to not move forward with that policy. I'm reading this on CNN. After sharp criticism from anesthesiologists, an insurance company is halting its plan to limit the amount of time it would cover anesthesia used in surgeries and procedures. This sounds like some shit that somebody came up with as like a cost-saving measure and nobody ran it by legal. And then finally the lawyers was like, hey, y'all about to get massive lawsuits over this shit. People are going to die and y'all going to be sued. Anesthesiologists said the new policy would have added a significant amount of undue strain to providers and patients and reflects a great misunderstanding of how things work in the operating room. Quoted an anesthesiologist, it says it is inevitable that unwarranted time pressure will increase the risk of adverse medical events and patient harm. Duh! I'm not an anesthesiologist or a lawyer, and I could have told you that. All right. That's the episode for today. We'll be back on Tuesday. Talk soon. Bye.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.